A good Chodesh to everybody, a good month. The first month of Adar, we have 2 months of Adar. Means we have a double joy. Double joy. 60 days of pure joy. That's what we need. And then some. And then some. Yes, one of the things missing in this world, real joy, which you'll have in the forthcoming JLI course. It's starting tomorrow night. For those who didn't get a chance yet, last chance to sign up at JLI, Jewish Learning Institute, JLI-Montreal.com. Private message me if you'd like for more info, and do join us. We conclude chapter 25, and with that concluding a segment of Tanya. This chapter, the Alter Rebbe empowers us with the capability of recognizing that every moment in our lives is an opportunity to connect to the inner will that we have, the true identity in the sense of who we are, of the soul, the Ava Mesoteris, the hidden love that defines the soul, that wants to be bound up and connected to God, and not to be disconnected from God, and hence disconnected from your true inner will, as opposed to an outer will, which is merely a will that is a means to an end, but not the true self, which is an end in itself. So how are we going to connect? David taught us in chapter 23 that the connection comes through doing the will of God, because the will of God is totally bound up with God, and there's nothing that stands before that. So when we do the will of God, we're connected, bound up, a perfect connection, as in study of Torah, for example, like we're doing now. Do a mitzvah, giving charity, or any other the 248 positive commandments, we're also bound up and united in one with God. When we do that which is au contraire to his divine will, so then there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect. So we have the capability at every given moment that we can connect and not be disconnected. And if we do disconnect, well, we have the power, of course, to come back to our senses, not to be foolish and feel that, well, I really didn't disconnect. Well, it's not an ultimate disconnect. It's not, burning in hell. It means in that moment you're getting from the outer will of God, which means from Klippa, from a negative source. And that just feeds itself, so to speak. So what is that thing that we can kind of remind ourselves of this on a daily basis about this idea of connecting? And further, as the Alter Rebbe made the argument, is that a Jew has given up their lives throughout the last over 2,000 years in order to maintain and be connected to their faith, to their religion, to God, to their God. So that's a lot more, to suffer for, to maintain that connection, to die for God. Well, it's easier to live for God. Maybe the difficulty is, day in, day out. But yeah, it's a lot less pain to give up something in order to be connected and not disconnected in our day and age than it, would be to die for God. So let's live. So with this, the Alter Rebbe concludes with something quite interesting. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, commands the Jewish people in the fifth book, the book Deuteronomy or Devarim, and not in previous books, not previously, that we should say twice a day the Shema prayer. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, the first line of it. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. By the way, I didn't know that we were of any kind of Irish descent, like Hear, O Israel. I don't know how the O got in there and all the translations, but so be it. Why did he give it in the book of Deuteronomy? Because that's the book that he is empowering the Jewish people upon entering the Holy Land of Israel, or what would become the Holy Land of Israel. So it wasn't meant for the people in the desert, it was meant for the people going into Israel. Now, we know that saying the Shema is got something to do with self-sacrifice. Accepting God's rulership, his kingdom, to the degree of self-sacrifice. Martyrdom. Sanctifying God's name. Excuse me. So, with that we understand why it wasn't given earlier in the 40 years in the desert, because there was no self-sacrifice the Jewish people had to have there. Nothing. They didn't have to have self-sacrifice. They had 40 years in the desert. God protected them, took care of them. There's no sacrifice. Definitely not to give up your life. Any battle that they engaged in was like a miraculous victory. And so the question is, going into Israel, why do they need the Shema in order to have self-sacrifice? When God promised them that they would be victorious over the Canaanites in the land of Israel and conquer it, and it would become the Jewish homeland. So what's the need for the Shema if the Shema is primarily about, martyrdom, of giving up your life for God? So the answer is, well, that's not really what it's about. It's not about giving up your life. It's about dedicating your life rather than giving up your life. And that's why we say the Shema. In other words, we would sacrifice our lives to keep our faith, to keep our religion. So sacrifice not your life, but the things that are from your outer will, and do what your true inner will is to connect to God. So if I'm ready to sacrifice my life for God, then to die. So now, hey, say the Shema once in the morning, once at night, as a declaration that I'm ready to live for God in a manner of sacrifice, in the manner of desiring to connect to Him and overcome my evil inclination every moment that it rears its ugly head and wants me to stray from the path. So if I won't stray by self-sacrifice, so keep that in mind, not to stray by other things that the evil inclination will come and wants me to stray from being connected to God and just to fulfill my, the pleasures of the heart, which are only the outer will or the outer desire of the individual, not the true desire that they have. So this is why he is empowering them at that time. You're going to go into Israel. You're not going to have a miraculous existence anymore. You're going to be tilling the soil, living like regular people, which they didn't for 40 years in the desert. You're going to have struggles. You're going to have difficulties. You're going to have times that you're going to, struggle, and therefore, I'm giving you something to empower you. Nishma. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is your God. The Lord, Hashem is one. And with that, he concludes giving us the empowerment for chapter 25.